Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Natalie Pike and welcome to Matchday Live. And as you can see, I'm in Wembley! We are back to the Etihad South, or as everybody else knows it, of course, it's Wembley. And what a beautiful day down here it really is. I'm so excited. It is the start of another season as we look to defend our Premier League title. We have a stunning new kit. I mean, this away kit is incredible. I think it's one of my favourite kits that we've ever had. I absolutely love it. As well as a stunning new kit, we also have a stunning new signing. Jack Grealish is a Man City player. Now, we have some of the players already warming. The man himself has just walked out. There he is. Jack Grealish is on the Wembley pitch. He is a Manchester City player. And you will be hearing the round of applause he's getting. He's got a cap on, so I think people have just started realising that it's him now. And he's joining some of his other teammates out there on the pitch. So we don't know the team news yet. Maybe he's playing. Maybe he's on the bench. We will find out soon. But yes, we are so excited to see Jack Grealish.
Hi, I'm Jack Grealish. Welcome to Matchday Live.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome along to Matchday Live. Thank you, Natalie, and thank you, Jack Grealish. We are here ahead of our Community Shield clash against Leicester City. Kick-off in just under an hour. And here to get into all the pre-match build-up is none other than Richard Dunne and Andy Morrison. Gentlemen, good afternoon. Richard, how are we?
Very good, thanks. Looking forward to the new season and obviously a superstar signing, so it's exciting.
Superstar signing, we should probably start there, shouldn't we, Andy? I mean, he's put pen to paper on a new 6-year deal. British transfer record. What is it that you make of him? What do you think he's going to bring to the club?
Well, I think there's obviously incredible talent. And, you know, he's shown over the last few seasons just what a talent he is. I think there's another level to go. Me and Richard spoke about this earlier on. I do think under Pep in the next couple of seasons, I think he'll elevate himself even further and go on to be, one of the greats.
Of course, I mean, it's a lot of money, 100 million. But, I mean, when you look at kind of think what he's done with Villa and given his age, you've kind of got to say, actually, it's probably worth it, would you say, Richard?
Well, because of his age, certainly. I think he's a very talented player and he has the opportunity, like Andy says, to really push on and go to the next level. And I think the faith and the trust that Pep has put into him, the player now has to start repaying it, has to start to learn, has to progress as a player, and understand he's not just coming here to be another player. He's here to make the difference and hopefully deliver the Champions League and trophies like that. So there is pressure, but so far in his career he's improved each year as it's gone past, and I think under this manager he's still got plenty to go, plenty to learn, and will be value for money come the end of his time.
I mean, if we're looking at where he might potentially play under Pep, of course we can never second guess Pep, but out to you both, where do you think Grealish would fit into the Manchester City team? Where would you play him possibly, Andy?
I think he could play anywhere across the front. I really do. He could drop into, what maybe is perceived as a 10 role in modern football. He could play a lone striker. He's that talented, and he could play off both sides. And I think he's got the ability and the understanding of the game to even receive the ball in deeper areas. And he's shown that, how he can carry the ball and get a team out of trouble. And again, I really believe there's growth there. We look at Cancelo, we look at Rodri, even Fernandinho at the latter stages of his career when Pep came in. And I do think there's going to be, a huge improvement adjustment, and he'll have to understand how City do things. We spoke about this earlier on, me and Richard, about, he carries the ball. City don't carry the ball. We're not ball carriers, only in the final moments, because we move the ball that quick to change the picture, to open teams up.
Yeah.
So I'm sure his game will adapt, and I'm sure there'll be bits along the way where they'll have to change and maybe sharpen things up a little bit. But all in all, it's an incredible signing, and it's it puts a smile on everybody's face, a player of that quality.
It really, honestly, I have never been more excited for a signing. I've been buzzing all day and all yesterday. Picking up on what you said there, of course, we know about City's free-flowing football, a lot of passing. He was the most foul player, though, obviously, which comes from carrying the ball. Do you think he'll have to maybe kind of lose that a little bit out of his game? Because that, I guess, could maybe, alter the flow of our game. Or do you think actually it can work in City's favour?
Yeah, I think when you're playing for Aston Villa and you're not challenging for titles and you're probably trying to stay in games a lot of the time, foul on the halfway line, or if you go down or whatever, and you're wasting a little bit of time and you're killing the game off, I think it helps them. Man City want to play free-flowing football, they want to attack, and I'm sure his instruction will be to carry the ball, dribble. If you get touched, carry on, keep going, because you've got players all around us where if City break, they don't want to be turning around, they don't want to be stopping and setting up for free kicks and giving teams the opportunity to set themselves again. So there's still, like that, you pick it out really quickly. There's certain points where he can improve, and things like that is it. And I think without the ball, he can improve. And as soon as he does them two things, instantly you've got a better player, and a better Jack Grealish than what he is today is phenomenal player, isn't it?
Isn't it? It's frightening, Andy, I think, and actually we've seen how good he is, and he brought Villa back up from the Championship, he kept them in the Premier League, but the fact, listening to you two here going, the potential for him to grow and become even better, it kind of feels like the sky is the limit for him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the amount of players that have come into City over the last 5 or 6 years and have improved their game and adapted their game, I still am not sure how the manager will want him to play, or what his clear idea is, how he'll fit into the system. But they'll have a plan. And, as Rich has just said there, at Villa, get the ball to Grealish in deep areas when we're under pressure, and he will win a foul. He will get us out of trouble. But, City spend most of the game in possession of the ball. And then, them final moments are going to be further up the pitch. And he's shown as well, on numerous occasions, his decision-making, his weight of pass, his perception of space and time is very, very good. And, I'm sure the players are looking forward to playing with him.
Really is, and I think Cheeky said it as well, that he seems to be the perfect Pep player. So I'm very excited. I'm sure we all can't wait to see him grace this pitch here at the Etihad. And will he be gracing the pitch at the Etihad South? Wembley, sorry. Well, let's find out. We can bring you the starting 11 now. Zach Stefan starts in goal after, of course, a brilliant pre-season. At the back, it is the back four that we saw start all those pre-season games as well. João Cancelo at right back. Ruben Diaz partners Nathan Ake. And Benjamin Mendy at left back. Fernandinho captains the side. We also have in there Ilkay Gundogan, Ferran Torres, Samadozi, Cole Palmer. And on the bench, Scott Carson, Rodrigo, Bernardo Silva, Philippe Sandler, Jan Couto, Tommy Doyle, Claudio Gomez, Ben Knight, and there he is, Super Jack Grealish. Hopefully we might see him on the pitch a little bit later on. I think Pep did say yesterday as well that he wouldn't start but could potentially come on. A very strong start in 11, Richard, and kind of actually more or less what we saw a lot of in the pre-season.
Yeah, he's given the players who've impressed in pre-season, he's given the opportunity, and for the two young lads, Adozie and Palmer, to have the opportunity to play at Wembley is fantastic. The two of them have been outstanding in pre-season. They've fitted in, they just look like first-team players, and I think because of the way the academy coaches them, because of the unique style that Man City play with, the players know it off by tee, so they just fit in seamlessly, and it's a great opportunity for them to start the season and kick it off with a trophy. That'd
be lovely, wouldn't it? And as you said, Adozie there really did impress, but we also then had our stalwarts and Fernandinho, who was class, Ruben Diaz. How big of an influence do you think they're going to have on today's game, Andy?
Well, obviously, you're going to look to that quality, that know-how. And it's again, I mean, as the years have passed by, this seems to have taken a greater importance to clubs, and it's another trophy. And many managers now talk about it. Where in my day it was always a charity shield, and and it's the start of the season, and everybody wants to get off to a good start, put a little benchmark down, and the players again will want to impress the manager going into the new season, knowing that the quality that is within the squad. We saw that last year that players tended to cement their place, and when you've got the shirt, make sure you keep it. And again, it's a great platform for them today to go and show that they want to be starters when the season kicks off.
A man who knows Leicester very well, and of course a man that we were waxing lyrical about the pre-season, 3 goals for him in the form of Riyad Mahrez. It's shaping up, and he looks, Richard, like he kind of almost might have taken his game to another level going off the pre-season games.
Yeah, and I think he's a great example for Jack Grealish, because when he came, he didn't start straight away. He had to take time to settle in, but how he's improved over the last couple of seasons. He was a fantastic player when he came, but his understanding of the game and his understanding of his role within the team has grown massively. And like we said, in pre-season, he's been fantastic. The volley he scored against Barnsley was brilliant, and he looks a threat every time he gets the ball. So he's an exciting player to watch, and one that is improving year on year, and hopefully will again.
Yeah. Ferran Torres, we're assuming if we kind of have Mahrez on the right, I'm guessing Edozie will be out on the left, as we saw in pre-season, playing in that kind of false 9 striker role. Now, it's been spoke a lot about in the back half of the season, Andy, that maybe he could potentially be more of a striker than a winger. I wondered what your thoughts are on that, and how big of a season is it ahead for Ferran Torres, given now he's had his season to bed in?
I think he can play both roles very well. I really like him because when he's wide, there's traits of an old-style winger in him, where he wants to come short and spin. His movement is exceptional. Me and Paul spoke about this, I think, one of the last shows. The way he comes short, the way he'll spin, the way his movements, and he can score goals as well. And he's got incredible pace that, it hasn't really stood out, but there's moments you see the lad's got blinding pace. Can score goals, was a hat-trick, was it, for his country?
Yep.
So he knows where the net is, and again, it's a year further down the line, and I expect again, as has already been said, you've looked at Mahrez, how he's improved, and sometimes when you're at a club the size of City with the quality we have, that players who are putting performances in are overshadowed by other greats.
Yeah.
His season last year was remarkable, Mahrez, how good he was. The amount of times, Kel, we spoke about him week after week after week, the performances that he was putting in. But then you had De Bruyne, you had Sterling, you had Foden, you had all these other performances that were just kind of like kept him in the background a little bit. But again, his game's gone on, and everybody seems to be picking up year on year.
Just off that, on movement, because obviously I know there's kind of plays that gets practiced, and they say, it gets drilled into them in training, but how much of it is like practice, and how much of it is instinct? Can you train the good movement or the kind of some of the spins that you see?
I think it can be taught and trained, but you've got to have a desire to run. Yeah. That's the key. Modern day, a lot of people want to come to the ball and keep the ball and pass it, but the desire to run in behind, the desire to make runs that open up avenues for other players, unselfish runs, and he certainly makes that. There's a humbleness in the way he plays football, and Torres, and I think it. Obviously there's a lot of good players, but make sure that when you get your chance today, you leave a lasting impression on the manager.
With Leicester, of course, a team that we've kind of come up a few times. In fact, actually, I think it's one of the teams that Jack's played against the most, along with us and Arsenal, 8 times. How do you think, what will be City's game plan approaching this Leicester team, which we'll bring you in just a second?
I think they learned last season when they got beaten here at the Etihad about how to play Leicester, because City dominated the match, attacked a free will, but were caught on the counter-attack plenty, and that's why when you look at Leicester, you look at Vardy straight away and you think, well, that's what they've got pace, and they're very direct when they do break the lines and they attack, they go forward, they want to get shots away and they want to attack. So I think as City's season progressed, they understood how to deal with the counter-attack, and I think that's where we've seen Cancelo was coming inside a little bit to shore it up with Fernandinho, and I think something similar today. I think when City do attack, they'll keep 4 at the back, probably in a box positions around the centre midfield. You need to avoid the counter-attack basically against Leicester, because they are good, direct, quick, all them stuff, but you can play around them.
I think it's been touched on, that you want to try and stop the counter at source, which we see Fernandinho snuff it out so well, but, with 2 kind of stalwart centre-halves here. If that doesn't get snuffed out, what is the best way in which you can defend against the pace of Vardy or, the eye of the needle pass that Maddison could find, Andy? Can you stop it?
Ideally stop it at source, very early with your strikers' recovery runs. Their heart and desire to get back and then make the pass that's been made difficult. If they're recovering and then the pass is off balance, then it might not be as precise. So that's the first point. You then got to get your depth right. Harvey Barnes, incredible pace he has as well, is very, very dangerous.
Yeah.
But then it's about where you want to force play, and you're trying to force play into wide areas to give yourself one more pass then to stop the shot on goal. So yeah, the Fiorentina is massive, but we almost created a box four with the two centre halves when they haven't dropped into a three with one of the fullbacks pulling in front, and then they're trying to immediately impact that first move. It's when they break that line that then you're in trouble with balls down the side. And I don't care how quick you are. If a ball gets played down the side of you and the movements are right, it's very hard to stop.
Yeah, and you say there about kind of getting your depth, and I guess that's what we've seen kind of Ruben Diaz bringing in that finally after we've talked about it, company going. But marshalling that defence, naturally being the brain of the defence, I guess, is instrumental for us keeping clean sheets against Leicester and teams in the season.
Yeah, it's so important as a defence to be doing your job almost when the ball's nowhere near you. You get it sorted before anything happens. You understand, or you anticipate what's going to happen. You put players into position, and you hopefully, when they do break, it's already dealt with because everyone's right in the right position. No one's last ditch tackles or anything like that. Everyone's prepared. And I was reading something this week about Man City, and it was Raheem Sterling was the player who committed the most fouls last year, and they were saying when opposition teams attack, that's the point. Send it wide, get the wingers to foul them, because nobody books the wingers. It's nice and relaxed. Oh, sorry about that, and they just carry on. So between him and Fernandinho, I think they were the most too. So, like Andy's saying, stop it at source. And City have the players, they have a tactic that works along that. But if that is passed, you need to be organised. And with Diaz, they've been far more organised over the last season than they were previously. Yeah,
and communication, I guess, as well. I mean, it's something that I've mentioned before, but where we were fortunate enough to watch the games live, you could actually hear how vocal he was, and you both were kind of key and massive at doing this. But that's also, I think, what the team needs around them, I'm guessing, Andy.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's sensing danger, and a holding midfielder or a centre half. It needs to be a worrier. He needs to see things early and be petrified about being exposed. And again, that's voices. It's been in the moment continually. Yeah. Without you can't switch off. You can't start watching play. You're sensing danger all the time. And like I say, the distances between the units on the turnover at City are remarkable, and it's literally can be a yard and a half where the player has to be back in when the first press does, because everything else breaks down on that. So the detail's huge, but then you have to have the desire and the heart to run back, make tackles, and and work for the team.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we are of course playing at what I like to call our second home, and I think today we eclipse now Manchester United in appearances at the new Wembley. This will bring it to our 20th appearance, which is quite incredible, really. I think all fans will say, like, never in our wildest dreams would we think we'd be saying a sentence like that. It shows how far the club has come, but also there's a comfortability in playing at Wembley now, which I think can only stand us in good stead coming up against Leicester today, Richard.
Yeah, the team's well used to playing in big games. Obviously, every game at Wembley is a huge match. These players have played in finals, they've played in title deciders, so they understand it. And I think it was a couple of seasons ago when Vincent Kompany came back early from his holidays. He came back early because he wanted to win the Community Shield, and that sets its tone for the season amongst the whole group. And I think today the players will go out and it's not friendly, it's not just another game, it's a big game, it's a trophy on the line, and having these experiences of winning these games will benefit certainly the younger players, but the whole squad as the season goes on.
Yeah, off that actually, and for those younger players, getting that sort of experience, what will that do for them, even if say they maybe don't make it into the first team squad for the year, but what will that do for them moving forward for their year ahead?
It shows the levels needed. It shows the commitment, the attitude, the professionalism. You'll only have to watch Fernandinho, the way he'll conduct himself today. When you're in amongst that, you can't help but learn from it. And then wherever you go onwards, you'll always remember what the best players are doing, how they're applying themselves day in, day out, and how they go into games. And, for these players today, for Pep, it's the biggest game of the season. It's a trophy. It's an opportunity again to lay a marker down. And the energy keeps coming from that. How do you keep reinventing yourself? Well, you go and bring in a player like Jack Grealish, and then you put your demands on everybody. It lifts the whole place to go again. Because football is relentless modern day. No longer sooner you're out of the season, then it's internationals. You're into a pre-season tour. You're back into the Charity Shield, and you go again to keep that enthusiasm, for me, has to come from the manager.
Yeah, really, really does. And final word on our team, Zach Stefan. Richard, we've been watching him, of course. Edison, I think I actually saw today, is on his way back to Manchester from his holidays. But he's really kind of made a name for himself, I think, and actually maybe saying that it could potentially be really challenging Edison for that starting spot, do you think?
Yeah, he's brilliant in pre-season. We were obviously fortunate enough to be at the games in pre-season, and how vocal he is so impressive, you know. And you talk about Diaz Stefan's organising Diaz and putting him in places and telling him what to expect, and it's so important. And the way obviously the summer's gone with the international tournaments, you would expect that he's going to start the season next week against Tottenham. So it's an opportunity for him. Obviously Edison's fantastic goalkeeper, and everyone would have him probably as first choice, but this guy's been outstanding every time he's played, and gives himself an opportunity to stake a claim for a place.
Of course. I'm sorry, Andy, I didn't know if you wanted to add to that.
Listen, I'm a huge fan of Edison, and I don't see past him. I think he's in the top 2 in the world. Edison, the Golden Gloves again last year. So you've got to do something special to take that shirt off him. And like I say, he's been outstanding for a long period, and he's unique in what he does. I've never seen any player, outfield player, to be composed, and his heart rate must be around 35-40 in a game because the way he conducts, it's incredible. So somebody's got to be very special to take over from him.
For you both, do you think Edison, would it be fair to say, has kind of revolutionised goalkeeping in a way, do you think, since he arrived at City in the Premier League?
Yeah, he's just an outfield player with gloves on, basically, is what he does. He's
a very good outfield player.
He receives the ball basically on the goal line and doesn't panic, just relax and plays it, whereas when we were playing, it'd be like, get it as far away as we possibly can and as quick as we can, but everything goes through him, City are caught out at the back or wherever it is, they've always got that out ball, and it's like they create another triangle with him all the time, and he switches play, he knocks 60-70 yard passes over the top, and he's revolutionised the way a goalkeeper's role is seen, but it's impossible to duplicate it. I don't know anyone else who can manage the same sort of things, and to top it off, he's brilliant at saving shots as well. Yeah,
fantastic. Right, gents, we're going to take a slight pause as we bring you a trailer for a brand new documentary film that is coming to City Plus. Now, I do not say this lightly. It is almost like All or Nothing Part 2, and we all know how much we loved that. Well, this is called Together. It's going to be out next week, and you can see it first right here on City Plus. Here is a trailer just to whet the appetite.
I know we are nervous. I'm nervous. I admit it. I'm nervous. But I know we are ready. Okay? Let's go outside, enjoy together, and let's be excited. Come on!
What we have done so far, we deserve to be in the position that we are right now.
This is a very special group. I've been part of many teams over the years, but this group has a togetherness, a closeness.
The basic step to a successful team, it's the relationships.
Stay together! Be there for the guy next to you!
It was a good moment. Did you film it?
We filmed it.
Yeah, good.
We've got it.
Shout out my boy Pep as well. Sometimes the plan doesn't work. Sometimes the plan doesn't work.
How did we lose that game, bro?
What you have to do is leave, give up. Keep going, guys. Stick together. We fought a lot for this moment. Don't drop it now.
Pep Guardiola has conjured up another trophy.
Premier League is the best. The Premier League is the best title.
Different gravy.
Such an important figure in the history of this club, and I think one of the greatest.
That's exactly what everyone wanted to see.
Maybe you don't realize what we have done so far. Maybe you're gonna realize when you are sitting there with your kids, with your grandchild, because now you're in the dynamic is like you don't stop,
What a goal! Look at that!
This was an incredible season, what we've accomplished together. We need to be proud, we need to be together in winning, and you need to be together in losing. Download the official Man City app, the best place to get all the latest news and videos.
Listen to Jack. Listen to Jack, basically. That's what everyone should do. And, of course, that brilliant documentary there, Together, is out next week on City Plus. Just off that, the team kind of morale, and you see it there, the togetherness of the camp, it does seem like it's a close bond that kind of has been building and building, but now, you can feel it there. But I guess that is kind of massive and integral to City in the way that they play, is knowing that when you're not there, someone's going to be right there next year. I feel that's grown as a fan, I think.
Yeah, I think... in any team, you can't do it on your own. You need relationships. You need to be best friends. You need to be able to trust and rely on people. And the way that this Man City group has been over the last couple of seasons is you've got 25 of the best footballers in the world, and they're all happy.
Yeah,
they all seem to be pleased for the other guy. They want the other fella to be successful, and that's what takes a team, and that's what builds a unit, I suppose, to go and win trophies. And City seem to have it in abundance.
Yeah.
And it gets stronger every year.
Yeah, there's one thing that's really important in all that success.
Yeah.
Winning trophies.
Yeah.
It builds and builds and builds from that, because everybody wants to portray that. Every club want to make out that there's this energy, there's this strength, there's this togetherness, but the results speak for themselves. And again, that's a byproduct. What comes first? Is it the success which creates the spirit, or is it the spirit that then brings the success? You get the two right, you get a special group of players like that.
What do you attribute? Who do you attribute it to, or is it a group of things? Does it all come from Pep, or is it the players that Cheeky's gone out and chosen? Maybe we now know the detail that they go into, looking at players' personality and kind of how they've been at other clubs. Where does it come from? Do you think? I mean, you're a manager. How do you go about creating that?
I think it has to be the manager, Gal.
Really, yeah.
The energy, the standards, every day you come into work, the players will react to you as the manager. The eyes, the intensity. And if you drop off a little bit, they will drop off.
Yeah.
And you've got to keep that, and that's hard. And like I said it many times, we have a unique man who seems to find that continually on the back of all the success, and still be humble enough again to want to prove himself. You see him on the sidelines, you see the way he conducts himself. And I think it comes from the very top.
Yeah.
I think the manager, everything else relates down from that.
Yeah. In Pep we trust. Now, if you've just tuned in, you might have just seen there Jack Grealish, our brand new record signing, warming up on the pitch at Wembley. He's not in the starting 11, as said by Pep yesterday at his conference, but hopefully he will be making an appearance in the second half. Fingers crossed. But there was a lovely little moment when he was getting a tour of the Etihad in his new home, where he found out his shirt number. Take a look at this.
I didn't even know that I was going to be number 10.
Yeah, bit of a shock.
Oh, that's my day. Cheers, David. Oh no, that's my day. That's my year actually.
I mean, I'm in love with him as much as I'm in love with Pep. I think, what a man. I mean, that moment there. I mean, it's a big. You just said it. It's a big shirt to fill, Andy. Of course, and we do miss Sergio, of course, but he does have the potential to fill it, I think.
Yeah, and it's great. And again, you listen, I'm a lot older than him now, but when you see that brightness, you forget that these are still lads. He's 25 years old, 26. He's still in that period where something like that affects him. And yes, there's you got 100 million, on top of your head, but still to have those eyes at that moment shows that there's a humbleness there, that he knows he's following in one of the greatest footballers the Premier League's ever seen.
Yeah.
So it's refreshing.
It's magic moment. Squad numbers. I mean, did you guys have a personal favourite? Was the one that you'd always go to? Is it a big thing for some players, do you think?
Wasn't for me. It was just he just went out.
It
was, yeah.
Was it?
Well, you didn't want number 12, did you? You don't want to be sub, basically. You want to be a starter, and that's it. So, but I know some people have brands, some people have ideas and the thoughts of what a number means to them, but I don't know. But if you're a 25-year-old lad and someone pays 100 million for you, you're feeling confident, but then they trust you to wear the number 10 at one of the biggest clubs in world football.
Yeah.
The confidence that must give Jack Grealish straight away from the club is huge, and that having that number will benefit him. Otherwise, to me, it's not. But
I had the 5. If I didn't have 5, I'm not in the plans of the manager. That's how I felt, and I saw
really,
it. Yeah, it was as clear as that for me.
And then were there players as well, that you played with at the time that kind of similarly had like a lucky number and they'd always go to that, or would it just kind of not be the case for some I guess?
We played in the era when it was 1 to 11, so it was different. We came up with, you were just happy to be in the team basically. Obviously, as squad numbers come in, people find an importance in the number, and there is certain people who will demand to be a certain number, because how can they go on? Like, how will life continue without that number? So, but it's just about. To me, it's just about playing. If you're playing, you're playing.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what's on your back.
Yeah, it really is. Okay, so we are here at the Etihad. We've seen Natalie Pike is down at Wembley, and I can tell you that she is not alone. She has got another legend with her. I was going to say Paul Dickov was meant to be with Natalie. She can't find him yet. He's around Wembley somewhere, so they're going to find him. Then we'll bring him on the show a little bit. But let's talk about Pep's press conference yesterday. There was a lot of questions. There was a lot being said. Take a look at this, and I'm going to get the thoughts from the gentleman after.
And the club also continues to be linked with Harry Kane. Can you say anything about that? Is there a possibility of that signing?
He's playing for Tottenham Hotspur, and if Tottenham don't want to negotiate, is finished. If they are open to negotiate, of course not. I think Man City, all the clubs, many clubs in the world want him to try to sign him. We are not an exception. But depends of Tottenham. So it's the same. It's different from Jack. Jack was close release, and he is different. So Harry Kane is an exception, extraordinary striker. No doubts about that. Of course, we're very interested in him. But he's a Tottenham player, and if they don't want to negotiate, there's nothing more to say. If they want it, we will try. That's all.
Usually with Pep, he very much never wants to talk about players that aren't his. That's always kind of been his narrative. This feels a very different approach. First of all, I mean, what do you make of that, Richard?
I think his intentions are clear. That if in an ideal world he would have Harry Kane at the club when the season starts. There's obviously a difficult situation because he's under contract at Tottenham. Man City have a fantastic side, a really well-built squad. They probably miss now that Sergio Aguero, that centre forward who takes on the big moments. And if you have an opportunity to sign the England captain, someone who scores 20 odd goals in the Premier League every season, you have to take it. And if he does come, it gives him the opportunity to win trophies, but it gives Man City that piece of the jigsaw probably that they missed last season when Aguero wasn't fit and wasn't available to play all the time. I think Harry Kane has that special moment in him to deliver on the highest level.
Yeah, and sorry, Andy.
No, I was just saying it's a difficult one, Kel, because we don't know the politics. We only see what we're allowed to hear.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. You don't really know the full story.
Yeah.
But you've got a player who clearly wants to come to the club. You've got a club that want him, and and it's a very difficult situation because in between that you've got an owner of Tottenham Hotspur who is very strong-minded, and it'll be his way. But again, we don't know the agreements that were made, whether it's in an office and a shake of the hand, and I gave you my word, because that can, for me personally, the person I am, that's as strong as anything written up.
Agreed.
So it's like I say, it'll clear up, I think, very, very quickly. Within a couple of weeks, it'll be either done or not. It won't linger on.
Yeah, and if it was to get done, because it's we can say that because our manager has come out and said that we want him. You touched upon some of the qualities there. I mean, is there any other parts of his game, Andy, you think that he could bring and will also benefit Manchester City if he was to do it?
He's a top end player, simple as that. He's leading goal scorer in the World Cup. I think he's one goal short of in the Euros this summer. He's a unique footballer. He scores big goals, and he scores all kinds of goals, whether it's headers, it's tap-ins, it's quality finishes outside the box, right foot, left foot. He is right up there for me. Lewandowski. I think a different Ronaldo and Messi. But I think he's a Lewandowski. He's a 9. And I like, but then he's shown his ability to come into play, and with our pace to build up play from a different area. But for me, he's the best in the world.
Yeah,
he scores penalties as well, which is really good.
Good start.
If you got someone like Jack Grealish, who you would probably consider he might win you 2 or 3 or 4 penalties a season, and the amount of penalties that Man City miss, that's another 6-7 goals a season, which vitally important, you know, and certainly when it comes to a big occasion, if you get a penalty in a final, if it had happened last year, where's your confidence in which player you think I want him to take it? You know, you're talking about possibly the goalkeeper coming up to take. Now you have, if he comes, you have one of the best penalty takers in world football. Yeah,
and for a manager to come out and say that, Andy, you know, do you think that is is it a tact to say, you know, you're kind of putting your stall out? Because it's not something you usually see from any manager, I think, to really come out and be as honest and direct as that.
No, I just think there's so much been said behind, and nobody knows exactly what is out there. I think Harry made a statement yesterday. So I think the man, he had to say something, because you can't just say, you know, no comment, or, you know, I don't talk about other players. It's the big story in world football. So, you know, it had to be dealt with, and I think he did it in the right way.
I think from a Man City fans' point of view, it's really nice. The club are just really honest and open and saying, we want Jack Grealish, they've gone and got him. We want Harry Kane, hopefully they'll go and get him. Whereas you see other clubs and it's like, they're linked with him, and nothing happens, and it's a bit of a disappointment for the fans. City fans are being told the truth, they're being kept in the loop, and it's like, we want him. If we can't get him, we've tried, but let's crack on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the honesty and the transparency that comes right from the top with Khaldoon for fans really is magic, and it brings you closer to the club, I think. Okay, Natalie, I believe, has found Paul Dickov, so we can now go back down to Wembley where Natalie has stood with the man himself.
Thank you so much, Cel. So I am joined down here at Wembley with the one and only Paul Dickov. We all know Dickov loves Wembley. Welcome, how are you feeling today?
Yeah, great, buzzing for it. It's just nice to be back down at Wembley again, with the fans in as well, so buzzing for the game, seeing the team here as well, so can't wait.
Before we chat about the team, let's have a quick chat. There's only one place to start today about Jack Grealish. What was your reaction when you heard we were linked, and then what was your reaction when we actually signed him?
Buzzing on both, you know. For me, over the last couple of seasons, and it's not just because I've signed him now, Jack Grealish has been one of the most exciting players in the Premier League, and now that we have signed him, to see him in a team that's going to have Kevin De Bruyne, Mahrez, Sterling, Foden, we can go on and on and on with all these fantastic attacking players, and you know, he's already up there as one of the best in the world in his position at the minute, and under Pep, I truly believe, like Kevin De Bruyne, like David Silva when Pep came in, like Aguero, he's going to improve, and he's only going to get better, and it's a bit scary for everybody else, but wonderful for Man City fans.
Because we heard him talk in his interviews about Pep being a big reason why he signed, and he's so world class now, it is a bit frightening to think, how good will he become under Pep?
And it's his versatility as well. You know, he can play a number of positions. We know Pep wants that. You know, we've seen Kevin De Bruyne, Phil Foden, Raheem all playing different positions across that front three, or even in midfield as well. You know, and he's exciting for the fans. He's a bit of a maverick when he's on the ball, which we all want to see. You know, and I think we'll see an even better Jack Grealish. You know, at Aston Villa, he was the main man. When he got the ball, he had to do something all the time. Now he's got so many world-class players around him, it's going to take his game to a different level, and hopefully Manchester City yet again.
And he's so versatile. I think that's such a key thing. I've heard people talking about, obviously, he played on the left for Villa. Where's he going to play? I don't think he's like everyone. He's not going to have a set position. I just feel like every game we're going to wonder where he's going to be.
The players rotate anyway. You know, everybody's saying, where's he going to fit in? Of course he'll fit in. He's a world-class player in a world-class team. And I think you'll see them changing positions within games as well. You know, we've seen last season with the false nine. 1 minute Kevin De Bruyne was up there, then if he moved out wide, Raheem Sterling would be in there, Phil. So they all interchange all the time as well. And because he's got a fantastic game management and game knowledge as well, he's going to fit in so well with everybody else.
Now, we've seen the team. Jackie's, of course, on the bench today. Looking at the starting 11, we've got Cole Palmer starts, and obviously Samuel Edozie, who's had a phenomenal pre-season, 3 games, 3 goals. What do you make of the 2 younger starters today?
Yeah, I was super impressed. You know, I was at the game the other night there against Blackpool. You know, Sam Edozie was on fire, you know, 60, 70 minutes before he gets taken off. And Cole Palmer, for me, he's such a great talent. You know, you see him, the positions he takes up in the game. He sort of played as a false 9 the other night there, but he caused the centre-halves all sorts of problems with his movement. He likes taking the ball in tight areas. He's got a great touch, and he's got an eye for goal. And I think it's fantastic for both Cole and Sam, you know, to have a full pre-season in the first team, and they've both put a marker down for Pep as well. That's what it's all about as a young kid. When you get your chance pre-season, you've got to show the manager that you can handle it. When you come into these games, you've got to step up to the occasion, and they've both done that, and it's going to be super exciting for them today.
Yeah, absolutely. He's taken his opportunity with both hands, and he's got his reward because he's going to be playing at Wembley today. Now, we of course know that the England players aren't back yet, so there is, other players that have got an opportunity today. For Ake, for example, so lots of opportunities for players to stand out today.
There is, and we said in the programme the other night there, the players that are back at the minute, they've got every chance to show Pep what they're all about and try and hopefully cement a place in the team next week, because pre-season's fantastic, and it's great to get minutes under your belt, but it's all with the aim of playing the first game of the season. And all the players that are out here today, the one thing they'll want to do is show Pep and his staff that they're ready for Tottenham next week.
Paul, thank you so much. I'd love to keep chatting to you, but they're announcing our team inside the stadium. Oh no, it's the Leicester team inside the stadium, which is why it's not too loud down here. But the minute they start talking about our team, this crowd is going to erupt. So we'll go back to the studio for a second. But I mean, what a week! Signing Jack Grealish, it couldn't get any better. Coming down to Wembley today. Now, did you know, Cel, that we are now the club with the most appearances at the new Wembley? We've only overtaken United. This really is the Etihad South.
Thank you, Natalie. Thank you, Paul. We did, and we were very much enjoying that earlier on in the show. So good to see Paul down there as well. And as you can see, the crowd are filling the stadium. Atmosphere is building. If you've just tuned in, welcome along to Matchday Live with me, Cel Spellman. We are taking on Leicester, I think, in just under 15-20 minutes' time. But before that, let me give you a recap of our starting 11 as chosen by Pep. It looks like this. Zach Stefan starts in goal, and then a back four that started most of the pre-season games in the form of João Cancelo, Ruben Diaz, Nathan Ake and Benjamin Mendy. Fernandinho captains the team with Ilkay Gundogan. And then we have Riyad Mahrez, Ferran Torres, Sam Edozie and Cole Palmer. Let me also then bring you the Leicester starting 11. It looks like this, very, very strong. Schmeichel in net captains his side. You have Ricardo, Amate, Soyuncu, Bertrand, Ndidi, Tielemans, Perez, Maddison, Barnes and Vardy. On the bench, Ward, Thomas, Benkovic, Chowdhury, Dewsbury Hall, Samare, Albrighton, Iheanacho and Daka. We touched upon, of course, it before on the Leicester team. Where do you think are going to be the key battles today on the pitch for you, Richard?
I think anytime Vardy plays, he creates a battle. He makes he enjoys the battle, and he makes it difficult for centre halves. And I think it's important certainly for Nathan Ake, who's probably trying to stake a claim to become a more regular first team player. He's going to have a job on his hands today, and it's going to be a perfect almost opener for the season for them to understand where they are. But you look at Leicester over the last couple of seasons, and they're a team who take the opportunity. They had the opportunity to win the Premier League when nobody thought they could. They got themselves into a position, and some clubs might have fell away. They stuck to it, and they went and they won the Premier League. Last season in the FA Cup, they're playing Chelsea, who are probably a much stronger side, but they sensed the moment of glory, the opportunity to win a trophy, and they've done it. So I think today they'll come into this looking at it and going, we want this Community Shield, we want another trophy in our bags, and that's what I think makes it really tough game for City, because they're going to be 110% at it.
Yeah. Do you think, a question to you both, are Leicester a Premier League title rival this season?
No. Not
Why?
for me.
I love that, Andy. Why?
Well, I think the last couple of seasons have shown that at that key moments in that last sort of 2 months, last 8 games, they just haven't got the staying power, and maybe haven't got the quality in the squad, the depth. They got to the finals of the FA Cup, so their season was very good, but they just ran out a little bit, and I just think they're too late with the strength of the top 4 squads in your Liverpool, United, City, Chelsea now. I just think they're just below that.
Yeah.
And I think the manager, I listened to him today on the radio, and he was saying that he wanted to set that summit just below the top 4, and he thinks he's established that. So that's where they see themselves. But again, the danger is today has to be Dunny spoke about it earlier on. Barnes and Vardy on the counter, Tielemans and Maddison with the quality of pass. It's whether we can press it early enough and stop it at source, or whether we have to drop off a little bit.
I guess as well, because we kind of know if City's Achilles heel, and you alluded it to at the start of the show, Richard, in that we do know in that kind of counter, or sometimes it is that one ball over the top where we get caught out. I guess you couldn't ask for a greater test ahead of the season starting next week, could you? Yeah,
and it's perfect, really. Leicester only play at 100 miles an hour. They always want to be on the front foot. They want to press players, press teams. They want to close you down. They want to cause you trouble. And they play some really, really nice football, but underneath it all is an ethic of hard work, and that's what they're all about. And I think for City, it's a challenge. They can't come into this game at 80%, 75%, thinking, "Well, we've got another week to go." They'll get beat today if they're not at it, because Leicester are always at it. And I think in terms of a game for preparation, it's perfect for before the season.
Yeah, is it tough? We've only had three games in pre-season, so maybe not enough to really get to the highest level. So do you feel it is quite a big ask, to kind of try and match maybe where you're going to be in a month's time in a game like today, Andy?
I think the best 11 of Leicester, I think, is more reflective today than what City's is.
Yeah.
I don't think that's our best 11. I think that's their strongest.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a really tough game.
Yeah.
It's going to be a really competitive game. But I just think the season seems to roll over, Kel, now into the next season. The day, probably even with Richard, but more so for the sports science coming in towards the end. But the sort of 8 to 9 weeks off, and coming back 4.5 kilos over, and then to lose that in the first 2 weeks of running, and football's moved on so much.
Yeah.
These players don't have an off season; they just have a break, for a few days here and there. But they're always being managed, so it'll very quickly. I'd like to think the manager will be wanting to think that come the first game of the season, they will be right at that top level.
Yeah.
There'll be no working our way into it. We have to be there straight away.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just remind ourselves what happened last time we did play Leicester, and it also involved an unbelievable Kevin De Bruyne pass. Of course, this finished 2-0. I guess we've been at Leicester before, and I think back to maybe that 5-2. I felt like this kind of was a turning point. I think in that going, I think we'd finally maybe sorted out those few problems that we'd seen in Pep's early seasons. I think, Richard.
Yeah, I think it was the 5-2 game here. It was the next day when Diaz came in. Which we understood where the problems were, and you see this game going to Leicester, to be able to keep them quiet, to be able to obviously block out their counter attacks is brilliant. And Andy's,
Benjamin Mendy there. Andy,
it's a great finish. It's a tremendous finish. Moved it across his body onto his right foot and just slotted it nicely into the corner.
Yeah, you see that there, and we think we touched upon it in a couple of pre-season games. We've seen glimpses with him, Andy. He pulls out something like that, or he's got the powerful marauding runs forward. But for whatever reason, it's just quite not happened. And I think I was saying it before. This feels now it's a make or break season for Mendy. I think at Manchester City. Yeah, I think every game, every time you represent the club, it should be make or break. We're just all smiling at that pass. Yeah, we'll go back. Let's talk about. Can we go back to that pass? Hopefully, here we go. Watch this now from Kevin De Bruyne. I don't. What do you even say to that? Can you even defend against it?
It's incredible.
Yeah, the two defenders going to the ground just give it a little bit of glory as well, don't they? I've played a few of them, but I'm stood in the top of that stand and I'm looking down at the pitch and I'm seeing that pass. He actually sees it at pitch level, which is incredible talent.
Where does that? I've thought that, right? I sit over there in the corner, but when you do come down to pitch level, it's a very, very different game. Is that just kind of years and years of playing that he's able to see those passes, or do some players have it and some players don't? The old eyes in the back of the head.
I think it's a combination of, firstly, talent.
Yeah.
To something he looks for. He wants to find that pass. Every time the ball comes to him in the middle third, he doesn't want to go safe unless he has to, or he sees an area where he's trying to maybe build up play slightly slower. But he wants to go forward.
Yeah.
He wants to make the pass, and that's great for a striker. He knows if it comes to De Bruyne and he's able to open his body and see the picture, just make the run. Just go and don't look for the ball. The ball will arrive.
Yeah.
And it's a combination of many things, but I think it's a it's a desire of his to impress with his passing range, and he wants to go and show he can do it.
I mean, you both stood on the sidelines. Well, and this is just out of my own curiosity, because I think, Pep doesn't get the bird's eye view that we get. So when a manager is watching, is he kind of looking for different things? Is it more shape? Is it more kind of focusing on maybe where there's a little jink he can unlock it? What does the manager see when he's kind of stood that pitch side?
I think each manager is different. I think if you were coming from a striking background, maybe you'd be looking more forward thinking and the movements of the strikers and opportunities. Me, I still, as a manager, still look at the dangers. We have a way of playing and we set up to go in a certain way, but I'm always looking for when it breaks down and then the dangers that come from that, But Pep is he's looking at all areas of the pitch, and he's so engrossed in it. He's so immersed in the game that, that it kind of strays away from what I was taught on my pro license, how to stand pitch side. And he goes against that. Klopp goes against it. Towards the end, when the pressure came on, Wenger started to go against it. Mourinho, they're engrossed in the game. And it's very hard to compose yourself and stay completely in the moment, because they live in the game. And no one more so than our manager.
The player we were speaking there before was Kevin De Bruyne. Sadly, of course, not in today's squad. But I guess it can't be underestimated now that he's kind of really in the peak of his powers, Richard, that if he has another kind of season like he did last season, and we maybe get that Champions League, do you think potentially a Ballon d'Or winner?
Definitely, yeah. He's brilliant to watch. He's a centre midfielder who doesn't necessarily dribble past people. He's not lightning quick, but he's amazing to watch as a footballer, because he does the passes that we all dream of doing. He can just pass it exactly where you're telling them to. Up in the stand, you go and put it there, and he does straight away because he's that good. And it's a joy to watch. And I think his improvement under Pep and his understanding of the tactical side of football is what makes him different to everyone else. There's plenty of centre midfielders who impact on games, but he does it almost without getting touched. Nobody can get near him. He's that far ahead of everyone else.
And Jack Grealish, we just seen him there again on the pitch, but he's made it very clear that Kevin De Bruyne is his favourite kind of player and thinks one of the best centre midfielders. So I guess for him to come and play alongside and learn from someone like Kev as well as Pep, you kind of getting two of the best teachers he could ask for, I guess, Andy.
Yeah, I think he'll have a great belief in himself and know what he's good at. But again, I think every player that's come in to City, especially in Pep's time, have spoke about having to want to raise their game and improve to get to the standard of the players they're playing with, and the impact that all them players have had on them. It's a great grounding to come to this club, no matter if whatever your cost was, because of the quality that's around you. You've immediately got to go and win them over. He definitely has the talent to do it.
Absolutely. All right, gentlemen, we'll take a slight pause here. We're going to head back down to the Etihad South to hear a little bit more from Natalie and Paul.
So the atmosphere is really building down here at Wembley now. I think everyone's just so happy to be back. It's so exciting to be here. I think personally I've been here maybe 14 or 15 times. I'm going to have to count it at some point, and it never ever loses its shine. So of course today's game, the Community Shield, playing the FA Cup winners Leicester. Another one of your former teams, Paul.
Yeah, there's quite a few of them actually.
Looking at the team, I'll give everybody the team news for Leicester, and then we'll have a little chat and get your thoughts on it. So if you haven't seen the Leicester team news yet, in goal it is of course Kasper Schmeichel, and then it's Soyuncu, Bertrand, the new signing, Barnes, Tielemans, Vardy, Maddison, Perez, Amarati, Pereira and Ndidi. Now you might have heard a big cheer as I was reading that Leicester team. That is because the City team is warming up behind us, and of course everybody's wanting to get a first look at Jack Grealish in his City stuff in real life. I'm so excited. Right, the Leicester team though, Paul, because we are here to play a game today, not just to be so excited. The Leicester team. Obviously, FA Cup winners last year, had a good season last year. What do you make of the team today? Who are the standout players?
It's a strong team, in fact. Everybody knows I'm Man City through and through, but delighted to see Leicester here as well. One of my former clubs. Whereas a lot of our players are still recovering from the Euros and still to come back in again. Leicester went strong. Obviously, Jamie Vardy, James Maddison. The one for me is Yuri Tielemans. He's the great Euros. He was fantastic last season, still only 23. And a special mention for Harvey Barnes. He had a horrendous injury last year and it looked as if he was going to be in the England squad. So great to see him back. But strong Leicester team, so it'll be a good test for our guys today. But say it all the time, Man City play, we'll win the game.
Look at that there, the Premier League there, of course, which we won last year. Looks so great next to that Community Shield. And a great word actually there from from Paul there on Harvey Barnes as well after that injury. Great to see him back on the pitch. Just before we get to the predictions, gents, final question is, winning this trophy, I guess, is the dream start and the perfect platform to really go about now, starting the defence of our Premier League crown. Yeah, definitely. You want to get off to a good start. Leave Wembley with a trophy and look forward to the game against Tottenham next week. I think because of the international tournaments in the summer, it's going to be difficult to pick your best 11 next week. So it's important that these players today make sure they're 100%, that they get what they can from the game, because the likelihood is they'll probably be close to starting a lot of them next week. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to be handing over to Alistair Mann for commentary in just a second. Not before though, gents. For the first time this season, I can ask for your predictions. So, Andy, I'm going to begin with you. Our tie against Leicester is taking place in just under 10 minutes. How can you see it playing out?
Is there penalties?
I think there is, yeah. There's no extra time, I believe, with the Community Shield. It goes straight to penalties.
I'm going penalties.
Ooh, hello. Okay, I like it. Richard?
It's not a bad guess, that, to be fair, but we're not great on penalties, so I'm going to go 2-1. 2-1. And then, Andy, if it was to go to penalties, who's going to come out on top?
We'll win the penalties.
I love that. I love that. Gents, it's been a pleasure as always. We're going to be back at half-time, then we'll be back at full-time, so please do come and join us. But for now, guys, go and grab yourself a brew, and we're going to hand over to Alistair Mann for your commentary. We'll see you at half-time. Thank you so much for joining us. Only thing left for me to say is, come on, City.
For the first time.
Goal! Breathtaking. Champions.
93-20, madness.
We're City. We don't do it the easy way. 93-20 is forever in our history. And for this season, it's woven into our fabric.
Manchester, it's a different city.
Champions.